newlywed and her father, who are now in critical condition after they were both shot in Southwest Philadelphia.
A shooting which wounded a pregnant bride on her wedding day and left her father fighting for his life. Police say the car is registered to the groom's former wife.
It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times, and I'm back with another video. In this episode of Hood Tales, let's take it to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to tell the story of a woman who ambushed her ex-husband's new bride on their wedding day. But before we get into this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss any future uploads. Stay tuned until the end to hear the whole story. Everything in this video is alleged. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Yasmin Wilkerson was known as a woman who wore many identities at once: wife, mother, and someone who demanded to be heard. Those who knew Yasmin described her as outspoken, deeply emotional, and fearlessly territorial over the life she believed she had built. Yasmin wasn't someone who lived in the shadows. She was deeply tied to her family, specifically her aunt, and had spent years building a life with her husband, Thomas. Yasmin could be seen as protective, perhaps to a fault. She was the kind of person who didn't let a perceived slight slide. In her world, respect wasn't just a courtesy, it was required. But beneath that exterior was a woman grappling with the painful reality of a dissolving marriage. But it seemed Yasmin wasn't ready to let her husband walk away. She was not someone who handled betrayal quietly. When she felt wronged, she confronted it head on, often publicly and without hesitation. To Yasmin, loyalty wasn't optional, it was everything. By 2018, her marriage to Thomas had unraveled. The separation wasn't just painful, it was humiliating in her eyes. What made it worse was that Thomas didn't simply leave. He moved on quickly, openly, and with someone who would soon become the center of Yasmin's anger. That woman was Bibi Waring. Bibi was 23 years old in the spring of 2018. She was pregnant with twins, close to her family, and living with her father, Frederick Waring, in Southwest Philadelphia. Bibi was described as expressive, proud, and unafraid to show her happiness. She shared milestones online, celebrated loudly, and believed she had found stability with Thomas Wilkerson, the same man Yasmin once called her husband. To Bibi, the relationship was new, hopeful, and sacred. She was focused on her health, her upcoming family, and the man she believed was her soulmate. For Bibi, the past was the past, and she was ready to celebrate her new union under the traditions of her faith. To Yasmin, it was a betrayal that felt personal and unforgivable. As these two women entered into each other's orbit, the bridge between them was, of course, Thomas. He was the common denominator, the man Yasmin was losing and the man Bibi was gaining. You had one woman feeling replaced and another feeling like the victor in a battle for a man's heart. They knew of each other through the grapevine of the city and, not surprisingly, through social media. It was a classic recipe for friction, but nobody expected it to ignite quite like this. By May 2018, tensions had been simmering for months. Then came the wedding. On Sunday, May 19th, 2018, Bibi married Thomas Wilkerson in an Islamic ceremony at a Philadelphia mosque. It was a joyful day, family, tradition, and celebration. Glowing with the joy of a new bride, Bibi posted a photo with the caption, just married, to her Facebook page. Family, friends, and followers reacted instantly. But one comment cut through the special moment. It was Yasmin's. Yasmin responded with a message that appeared calm on the surface, but carried emotional weight beneath it. She wrote, "He deserves you. You deserve him. Take care of my kid." On the surface, the comment might have looked like a goodbye and good luck, but in the context of their history, it was a stinging jab. The comment section became a battlefield. Friends and family members from both sides jumped in, throwing verbal blows. By the following afternoon, the digital altercation turned into a real-world challenge. Insults regarding Yasmin's aunt were said, and Yasmin felt that a line was crossed and it was disrespectful. With her family's honor at stake, Yasmin texted Bibi's sisters and invited them to find her. A meetup for a physical altercation was now on the table. Later that night, between 9 and 10 p.m., the tension moved from the screen to the streets. Yasmin arrived first at 58th and Hatfield Streets, where Bibi lived with her father. She did not come alone. She was backed by a crowd of 15 to 20 women. Eyewitnesses described a terrifying scene. Some women were reportedly carrying sticks embedded with nails. When Bibi arrived at her father's house, she was met by this wall of hostility. Bibi, her sister, and her niece stood their ground. Words were exchanged and emotions were high. But then something unexpected happened. The crowd began to disperse. No physical confrontation occurred. It appeared the situation was ending without further incident. Then Yasmin turned back. She claimed she was looking for her keys, but the piece was a facade. When Yasmin doubled back, the energy changed. She wasn't just with a group of women anymore. She was accompanied by two men. As Bibi stood outside her father's home, upset and feeling disrespected, her 74-year-old father, Frederick Waring, repeatedly stepped between her and Yasmin, physically holding her back, trying to prevent anything from escalating. Bibi later claimed she was unarmed. She did not see Yasmin holding anything either. Then, in a matter of seconds, Bibi heard Yasmin turn toward two men and say words that would change everything. As Yasmin looked at the two men with her, she gave a chilling command. End them both. Moments later, several shots shattered the night. Frederick Waring reacted instantly, shielding his pregnant daughter by pulling her to the ground, placing his body over hers. The scene was absolute chaos. Bibi would later realize she couldn't stand up. She had been struck multiple times, but her father had taken the worst of it. Frederick was struck 10 times in his torso and upper body. Bibi was struck 4 times in her hip and leg. The sidewalk outside their home became a horrifying scene of fear and disbelief. The assailants vanished into the night. Emergency responders rushed both victims to Penn Presbyterian Medical Center. Frederick Waring underwent surgery and spent 8 days in a coma. Frederick eventually woke up, a hero in every sense of the word. He remained in the hospital for nearly a month. Bibi spent 10 days recovering. Her unborn twins miraculously survived the ordeal. During the investigation, investigators later recovered shell casings of 3 different calibers from the street, evidence suggesting more than one shooter. The suspects fled in 2 vehicles. One was later found abandoned nearby. The other was never recovered. Days later, Yasmin eventually surrendered and turned herself in as the investigation narrowed in on her and her vehicle. She was charged with multiple serious offenses, included attempted hit, aggravated assault, conspiracy, and related counts tied to both Bibi and Frederick Waring. She maintained that she never physically touched Bibi and claimed she did not carry a weapon. Prosecutors argued that her words and actions set everything in motion. Yasmin's first trial in 2019 ended without a verdict. The jury could not agree. Yasmin chose to waive her right to a second jury trial, opting instead for a bench trial in June 2022. The judge examined the case, and this time the court found her guilty. Yasmin was convicted of attempted life-ending actions and aggravated assault. In September 2022, Yasmin was sentenced to 5 to 10 years of incarceration, followed by 4 years of probation. The sentences for both victims were ordered to run concurrently. Yasmin appealed. In late 2024, the judgment of the sentence was vacated due to a sentencing error, and the case was sent back for resentencing. Yasmin was later resentenced accordingly. Today, the 33-year-old is currently incarcerated at State Correctional Institution Muncie, serving her time. As for the men who allegedly pulled the trigger, there's no public information on whether they were ever arrested or charged. This story shows how quickly emotions can override judgment, how pride, jealousy, and unresolved resentment can spiral into a lifetime of regret and emotional pain. A Facebook post became a trigger. A wedding celebration became a night of lifelong consequences, and a father's instinct to protect his child turned him into a living shield. If not for her father, Bibi could have lost not just her life, but her children. Social media didn't create the anger, but it accelerated it, and the anger continued to grow unchecked. What might once have cooled over time instead escalated in minutes. Thankfully, no one lost their lives as a result of this, but in the end, no one walked away unchanged. Was the respect both sides sought out worth the consequences? Was the reaction worth prison time or the scars a father and daughter will carry forever? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. All right, fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, consider liking and sharing. Subscribe for more stories like this and for the stories behind the headlines, because behind them all, our lives forever changed. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times. Until next time.